Sex is spirit, soul, and body. That's the way it's designed. It is not a physical act because you're a triune being. Okay, because you're a triune being, it's a triune act. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, class? No, okay. So if you're spirit, soul, and body, then what happens is if you're having sex with someone else, it's a spirit, soul, and body activity. Boom, okay? 2 spirits, 2 souls, 2 bodies becoming one. Bang. Makes you want to shout right there, doesn't it? So you're like, what is he talking about? Okay, so we'll help you later. Okay, so you know all that stuff you've been learning about the brain? Let me tell you the good news of how your brain is made for sex. So you've been hearing the bad news all day long. Okay, how it attaches and gets hijacked and all that kind of stuff, right? But that's actually the good news. Okay, the good news is if you're married and you're having sex, I'm going to give you 3 tips here in a minute. The right way, you can actually utilize the way you were created sexually and maximize it for pleasure and fun. Okay, when you have a sexual release, you get the endorphins, enkephalins, hits the excitement center of your brain, boom, you literally glue and attach to whatever you're looking at. Ring the bell, feed a dog, ring the bell, feed a dog. That's how teenagers become porn addicts. It's real simple, classical conditioning stuff. Okay, however, you can actually utilize this system yourself. Okay, now ladies, the good news for you is it doesn't matter what your body looks like, doesn't matter what your hair color is, doesn't matter how many wrinkles you got. If he's doing sex right, he will think you are so hot till death. Because you're literally glued to whatever it is, doesn't matter whatever it is. It just doesn't matter. So you can turn on the lights and all that kind of stuff and be all right about it. Okay? And guys, if you're doing this, what I'm going to suggest here, you're going to have more relational, powerful sex than ever in your life because you won't be able to disconnect during sex because it takes more IQ than you have to do that. Okay? So let me give you these 3 tips so no one is embarrassed for writing them down. Because some people are like really anxious. There's some pens that are just like this right now. Okay? So get yours or get your little laptop, your cell phone, whatever you got, so at least it looks like you're participating, and write down these 3 tips. Eyes open. Eyes open. So when you're having sex, you're looking into each other's eyes. If the position permits, look into each other's eyes because you want to connect to the soul and the being of the person. Okay? So no closed eye sex, because if the closed eyes, then the guy can be thinking about something else, not you. You could be thinking about dishes. Okay? And so you're not going to glue to who they are. You're going to be distracted. Okay? Because you're not looking at what's in front of you or who's in front of you. Okay? So eyes open, lights on. Second rule is lights on. And it doesn't have to be theatrical lighting. Just simple candles, fine. Okay? That's fine, as long as you can behold each other and be beheld by the other person. Okay? Third is nurturing conversation. I'm not talking about dirty talk. I'm not talking about something that degrades the spirit or the soul of the person. I'm talking about something really beautiful and fun and encouraging and celebratory of the other person. Who they are, the fun you're having, their body, all of that, okay? Because sex is a communication, and silent sex is really the worst type of sex because then someone's got to be creating something else in their brain for the absence of communication. Okay? So you want to be talking to each other. Now that may be uncomfortable. All of this may be uncomfortable because you've been having sex wrong for so long. If you're having closed eyes, don't talk, silent sex, hope that was good for you, ma'am. That kind of sex, you're not really benefited from the way you're designed, spirit, soul, body, or neurologically. Does that make sense? So go home and try this for a few weeks and a little bit, and you tell me if I'm wrong. I've never had an email, Doug, I've been doing that eyes open, lights on, nurturing conversation for a whole month now, and that's just not as good as it used to be. And she's usually like, oh my God, what have we been doing all these years? This is so cool. This is so fun. I really like looking at them. Okay? So try it. And again, utilize the information you got today. Take this neuroplastic idea that you can continue to grow in any area of your life you choose to, and choose to grow sexually. Make a deliberate choice. Because sex is an ongoing development process of the human being. It doesn't stop at 18 when you get to certain pubic hairs. It doesn't. Sexual expression and sexual learning and sexual development is till death. Somebody get excited in this room other than me. You look so bored. See, you know why I'm so excited? I've been doing it right for so long, I know what I'm talking about. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, if I do this for another 30 years, I'm going to die. Okay, you might be doing it wrong, okay? So let me give you some really good ideas here, okay? Because I work with couples, we do intensives, and in recovery, there's his recovery, there's her recovery, and there's marriage recovery. And part of that redemptive process is the area of sexuality. And what I find, which is really amazing, even in very healthy couples, that they tend to argue about sexuality for decades. about what they can and can't do, will and won't do, and all that kind of stuff, what's acceptable, not acceptable, and all that kind of stuff. So have a kind of a simple concept, and this is in the Intimacy 100-Day Guidebook. So going back, I'm going to give you a couple ideas. The first idea is what I call the garden. Okay? Now, the garden is a place between a husband and wife, okay, and you actually decide what's in the garden. Instead of fussing and manipulating and crying and getting to bed early and doing all that kind of crazy stuff to get out of or into things, you can actually create a discussion, a communication about what's acceptable to us, what works for us as a couple. Now, what works for you isn't going to work for your neighbors. They like Italian food, you like Korean food. You're different people, different strokes, that's okay. But as long as you're in agreement, it'll work. Okay? Now, if you're a recovering person, you spent, thousands of hours watching pornography, you might have to consider that your idea may be skewed. Okay? And that your spouse may not be able to do half of the things that you've created or these people have done. And it's not supposed to either, because that's non-relational, it's object sex. I'm talking about relational sex. So what you do is you create your garden. Now your garden has basically 3 columns to it, okay? So if you're drawing it, there would be column 1, 2, and 3. In the first column would be some basic categories, okay? Positions, places, and acts. Those would be your 3 kind of general categories, okay? Now I would come up with positions you can still physically do. Some of you look like you got a little gray on the top, okay? So, consider your own flexibility and reason, okay? All right, now the second column would be at the top of it would be he votes, and the third column would be she votes. And there's 3 different kinds of votes, okay? There is yes, I think that's a great idea. Okay, that's a good vote. No, that is absolutely not a good idea. And W is, when I want to, I'll bring that to the garden.